either Bambara or French. So it's like broken Bambara and I spoke French. Because why is French? Anybody knows why?
So French colonized the area?
It was colonized by the French, this area. People who are colonized by the French speak French. People colonized by the British speak English. The Portuguese, they speak Portuguese. Okay. So here I am, I want to know exactly. So I take two men. We went to a special thatch roof house. You know what a thatch roof is? A house built with reed. You know, like house built out from plant. And we were sitting there, there was a little fire, and we sat down, I sat down on a raised area on the ground. That becomes a chair, like, you know, when there is a raised area, I can sit on it cross-legged, but it's a comfortable area. And I talked to the people, and I said, can I know? And the man started, and the other man talked, and within 10 minutes of talking, one of them went to a dream state. He's awake, but dreaming. And he went back to 11th century Emperor Sundiat. So here he is telling me that Sundiat, the Emperor Sundiat, the great Sundiat of Mali, the Empire of Mali, the great Sundiat of Mali actually had it in his court. This instrument was in the court of the Emperor Sundiat. The origin of it, I mean, there are a lot of it, but it's a very incredible. I never had that experience before, that somebody can go in a dream state and see history beyond. Have anybody experienced that here? It's incredible. So he started in a dream state, explaining the instrument, how it's played, how the emperor used it, how people came and played it. And then we know that a lot of historians who close by saw about that period. So this is a really, but it has different shapes. Some of them are bigger than this one. Some of them maybe have more. Some of them, the boards are different. And the vibration, the parchment on the gourds are different. Okay, different parts of Africa. If you go to South Africa, they have a long gourd underneath here, like it goes that big, and has like deeper tone. So, what I'm saying here is this is a historical piece, and it goes to the time of Sundiat according to a dream state, and it's a very unusual situation to really do a research, but I accomplished that. So it's very special. I want you to write these down, write this story down. Write the whole idea of a balafon and its history and how it's captured, and the significance of it. They use it for ceremony, for dance, for initiation, when you initiate people into the tribe, or initiation into puberty, or initiation into manhood. You know, a variety of things is used in this instrument. And the mallets have rubber, raw rubber, sticks. Okay, write all that information. Okay. Yeah, write everything I said, because that's a very important thing. Like the city of Sigiri, I'll give you that. And it's on the Niger River, and the country is Guinea. I was doing research in Guinea, and actually I was working at the Smithsonian Institution. I don't work there, I was here, but I was a consultant to Smithsonian. And you know what Smithsonian Institution is? Anybody? Smithsonian Institution.
Is it in DC? Is it in Washington, DC?
Yeah. Smithsonian Institution is a very interesting organization. It's probably one of the most biggest, it's probably the Ministry of Culture of the United States of America. who is totally independent in its research from the government. Smithsonian Institution, if I'm doing research for Smithsonian, and they are independent from the government cannot tell them what to do. They are totally independent. So it's an institution supported by, I think, the government of the United States and other institutions. They have the biggest collection of history. If you go to Washington, D.C., anybody went to Washington, D.C. to visit Smithsonian? Did you visit Smithsonian?
Yeah.
You can see the history of space, you can see the history of science, the history, every part of the world, history of man, history of everything. And there you have the history, whatever people collect, they keep the human achievement. So it's the biggest institution probably in the world that actually dedicated to preservation of man's history and his work, like this or that. Man's history and his work. Probably the richest and most powerful one because it's independent, separate, that's part of the United States. So, I probably told you the story when I recorded I was recording in Zaire in the Congo, and I was inviting people from there. I told you that story? No? You know who Henry Kissinger is?
Yeah,
You don't know Henry Kissinger?
for it's like Hillary Clinton. I don't
It's
know.
like secretary,
Yeah.
what's Hillary Clinton's position? What is it called? Huh?
Secretary of State.
Secretary of State. Henry Kissinger was Secretary of State. When he went to Maputo, you know who's Maputo? Maputo. And he was the Secretary of State, and there was a bicentennial in Washington. And Henry Kissinger, Secretary of State, just to show you how independent Smithsonian is, went to Maputo, the president. Maputo said, take these musicians to the United States to express the tradition of the Congo, Zaire. And I was doing research with Smithsonian, and I wrote them, I said, Smithsonian, forget it. I'm coming home, I'm not doing anything. He said, why? I said, well, Henry Kissinger already decided, and he's the big guy, so it's the biggest guy in America. And they said, no, wait a minute. They sent a note to the president of Zaire, Maputo. He said, if you want to get presentation in America, you have to follow the guidance and the plan of our researcher, Halim El-Dabh. In other words, they said, we don't go by politics. And what they were searching for is music for self. See, that was the point here. I was searching for how music is for self. This is a very important part of the whole idea, because if you're doing music for self, you're not performing for another. So I visited the area in the Congo who were doing music, like groups of women would get up in the morning to feel better. They do certain music and certain chanting, just to feel human, just to feel that the day began. So it's like meditation. It's like a form of contact with the universe, So they're doing the music not to say, hey guys, hear what we're doing. It's the music for self. So the Smithsonian was working with me on the idea that what I was doing is music for self. So all my recordings, all my work there were music for self. What Kissinger, secretary, was suggesting, or his big president's going to send us 60 people and it's just a big show. That's not the idea. Yeah, I felt good. I said, well, he's going to follow my recommendations. He said, we have to follow the recommendation that comes from me. So this just gives you an idea about the culture and its development. Okay, you have a few minutes to write. And write all the things about the instrument. Because this is, they have a whole history about Africa. If we take the wood, it has a history. If we take the gourd, it has a history. The influence on Western music, how it became a xylophone, that's another history. So it's really a very rich element in this thing. It will present a very rich area of study. I can just get the idea of playing. I just make sound on it with my knuckles. Are you going to make sound with your knuckles? Oh, pretty good. Go on, James. Oh, you gotta run.
I'll get some water.
He's doing all right.
What are the gourds? What are they made out of? Coconuts?
The gourds are plants.
Plants.
Yeah, I think we did one one here years ago. We have gourds in Brimfield. Used to have farms with big gourds. So we made instrument with big gourds. We dry it. Now gourds are a very important thing. The gourds, they're big. You can cut them. They become cooking bowls. You can drink water from them. See, a gourd is they call it a calabash also. Calabash, write that down, calabash. So a calabash is half a gourd. Half a gourd is a calabash, which you can drink with, you can cook, you can keep food in to the next day, you can do all kinds of things with the calabash. Okay, any question about it? You want to know more? So this is the prehistory of. Oh, you want to try again, Ibrahim? You seem to have a knack for it. Let's see how Ibrahim does it. Anybody else want to try?
Did it hurt your fingers? No, not at all.
No, he's just.
I don't got the hands for it. I play the drums too, but I play with the sticks.
Anybody else want to try? You want to try too? Pretty good. All right.
Go ahead, Madison, I'll talk, guys.
Want to try?
I'm just kidding.
All right. Okay. So this is a balafon, and you know now what's if I say Sundiat, you remember who Sundiat is?
Yeah, the emperor.
Emperor.
11th century.
Yeah, 11th century, part of the Mali Empire. The empire, that was a huge empire, the Mali Empire. All right, so one thing is important to know about this instrument before we leave it, is the challenge for what we do today with the piano. The piano is an instrument in tune, but in the same time out of tune. In other words, every time you have a piano and you pay $100 for somebody to tune it up, when they finish tuning it, it's really out of tune. Yeah. Because the scale was measured by Pythagoras back in Greek time. and the intervals did not match. The interval, yeah, they don't match. On the piano, the interval are half, 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 half. So there was a compromise from the natural scale. Maybe if you play maqamat, you're all right, because you're using quarter tones in between. When you play the word maqamat and tab and tala and raga. Maqamat is Arabic and raga is Indian. And so they have scales that they develop which expand according to the instrument, and they can play between the notes. When the piano is used in America, black people used to make something called the blue notes. They actually force the piano to make that missing note. The way they play, you know, the jazz, and they get in between. Even though the piano is equalized, they get that quality of sound. What happened to the piano? The worker was called the well-tempered clavichord. Write that, well-tempered clavichord, which Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, started in Europe.
Well-tempered what?
The well-tempered clavichord or well-tempered piano. But clavichord is before the piano, the well-tempered. Well-tempered, they're equalized. So why did we do that? We did that for, of course, commercial reason. You know, it's like if you do tires, you're not gonna have tires specialized to every car. The music is specialized, like this guy would put it to his voice, it's specialized in the village. But in order for other villages to play it, I have to standardize it. And that's commercially good because you can sell pianos all the same. And you can sell music sheets that follow that. So there is an industrial economic reason also behind it. But to tell me that this is out of tune, no, the piano is out of tune. You have to realize the idea of tuning is absolutely relative. That the piano is tuned, but it's out of tune because it's equalized all the intervals. You know, you take half, 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 half. It's equalized.
Then how is that different?
It's different because it's natural to the voice and the quality of sound of that particular village in Senegambia. It will be a little bit different than the balafon is done in Mali, in Guinea. It'll be different, and the Bambara balafon will sound different. You know, each area has a different balafon. It will be different. And the Ga people of Ghana, the Ga people have balafon. See? So it will be different. But standardizing it, so you all have pianos, and the piano is standardized and equalized. So we allowed ourselves to be tuned into the piano. And because if you want to buy a piano, materially all fit the same. So it's easy to sell sheet music, it's easy to sell songs, it's easy to tune the pianos, it's easy to make pianos, all that. Otherwise you'd have private make instrument for everyone, for every singer or for every person. All right. You understand that the economic